Well, ask and ye shall receive. That's right. Amy and I's prayers were answered, and Bert Schwarz has finally flown the coop away from his two other brothers, and he's living with one of his best brothers, Tom Schwartz, in Los Angeles.
Yes, you love to see it.
You love to see it. Bert had to get the hell out of Dodge. He was tired of living with Brandon and Billy. I heard that there was some issue with their big trundle bed that they sleep on, where one of the blankets kept hitting Billy in the face or something. So Bert had to be on the top bunk, and then I don't know what that's just all kind of rumors. But apparently he flew the coop out of Florida, and now he's living with his brother Tom Schwartz. Is this still true?
I think so. I saw the other night they were at, were they at Jax's? I think.
Yeah.
And in the video, I was hoping, I couldn't tell, but I was praying that he was drinking a Heine Zero and not anything else.
I have to believe Bert is definitely drinking a Heine Zero. I saw that same thing too. He was all freshly decorated in Los Angeles apparel, not LA apparel, but he was wearing like what's that classic
all of
LA
the
stuff?
Barstool hand-me-downs from Jackson.
He was wearing some Barstool stuff. It said "I love LA" on one of his shirts, so he's fully in it, I think. And I'm gonna spoil 1 second from the Valley. This is not embargoed, I don't think. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Bert was testing his sea legs in Los Angeles in the Valley whenever that was filmed last summer. When was that the Valley filmed? Last summer.
Yeah.
Damn, it takes a long time for that shit to come out. But so Bert was testing his sea legs in Los Angeles again on the Valley because he's in the premiere episode of season 2, and then that must have been like, hey, I gotta live here. I gotta get away from Billy and Brandon. They are driving me nuts.
Yeah, I do get very excited every time they're in the mix.
Me too.
I hope that Schwartz is doing well. We'll see. Like he just, not to give him, I know people are like, he's a piece of shit. Like he treated.
People still say that?
Well, I just mean, I know that he's been like selfish in a lot of ways over the years, but he also seems like he's secretly always like supporting a lot of people at once, and it's like really dragging him down. And I think that is still happening. Like he had to deal with all of the Sandoval shit. He had to, like, he's trying to support Jax through his demonic era. He's letting his brother fly out and live with him while, he was sick. His dad was sick. I think he gave his whole family like half of his paycheck for like 10 years or whatever. Like, I made that up, but like something like that.
Of course. Yeah.
So I'm like, I hope that he feels okay these days.
Of course. He got his karmic payback for everything wrong he's done in his life already. Remember two things. So remember Alex Baskin on the Hot Mic interview with Jax. I remember Jax. Nobody talked about this, I don't think, but Jax goes, Alex goes, who do you reach out to for support? I assume Schwartz. And Jax goes, yeah, he goes, but he's got a lot of other shit going on right now, so I don't really bother Schwartz with my stuff. And I was like, whoa, Jax like tiptoeing around Schwartz saying that he's got a lot of stuff going on. I was like, oh, that sounded kind of bad. Like he didn't want to say what Schwartz was going through. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think Schwartz takes on a lot of burdens from his family, and Bert might just be the latest
Burton.
Yeah, I heard that he sends a bunch of cash to Bert, Billy, and Brandon, and Billy took more than his fair share, and that was what got Bert to
Billy Bucks.
Billy Bucks. He sent him a bunch of money. Billy said these are Billy Bucks when it was clearly labeled Brandon and Billy's money.
Bert Bucks. Billy Bucks.
Billy Bucks are. Bert Bucks are kind of funny. That would be like if he was still drinking, he'd be like paying his Jackson Studio City tab with Bert Bucks, and Jackson would be like, oh god. Last thing I'll say on the Bert tangent is that we are one step closer, not 3 steps closer, but one step closer to the spinoff that you and I have dreamed of, which is getting a Jax oriented spinoff around taking care of the triplets. Now he's got Bert as fertile ground, test soil, to start that concept on season 3 of The Valley. Yes. Bert is going to be right next door to Jax.
Yeah,
you know
that
what I'm
can
talking
be
about?
his like rehab like to rehab his image, he could take on a project, you know.
Oh, and nothing would be more sympathetic than watching Jax in that new light again, where he plays sort of mother hen to one of those triplet boys. It's almost even better that it's just Bert to start with, and then Billy and Brandon can come later.
Yeah, it would be like a full Three's Company. Like he would keep coming in, and Jax would be like, "Come on!"
Yeah. Oh my God. Even the people in Three's Company would be saying this is too many people if it was Jax, Bert, Billy, Brandon, and Tom Schwartz, right? So why do we have any guesses? Is Bert? This is the last thing I'll say. Is Bert out of Florida because he was the one who had that liver transplant? He was really going through the throes of alcoholism or drinking. He had to have a life-saving surgery. So in a way, he's the one who left because maybe it's too toxic where he's living. And so he's the one who actually needs the most help right now from Schwartz. Is that what you imagined?
I assume, yeah. Although I'm like, is Hollywood the best place? But I don't know what Schwartz's vibe is anymore. Like, does he go out a lot? I feel like we don't get that many videos of him like making a fool of himself in public or anything. And I actually was wondering, is he with that girl still?
I don't know. We haven't heard one peep from if Schwartz is still dating Sophia. Was that her name? I gotta say, Amy, I have to be a little bit of a fourth wall break stinker here, but I'm seeing that we're recording. It's going for the time, but it won't allow me to stop it here. I'm like so worried that there might be a glitch. So let me start us off in the right place. I'm gonna stop. We're gonna keep this hopefully, but if we lost this, Turtle Time is over.
Tragic.
Let me just see. Well, that was a wonderful discussion about Bert Schwartz, but Amy, I don't know about you. Do you think we should talk about this episode of Vanderpump Rules that we're recapping?
Definitely. Watch your back.
Watch your back. Very generic title. Not too fun. And is it in reference to, let me guess, Sandoval saying, "Watch your fucking back, Stassi and Kristen. If you lie about us, I'll tell truths about you." Is it called Watch Your Back just because of that threat from Sandoval?
I guess. Or like Stassi and Kristen telling Billy to watch her back.
Oh my God, sorry. You caught me off guard. That's it too.
They're like, watch your ass. He's going to grab it.
Oh my God. That's it too. It means both things. Watch your back because Jeremy's on the prowl. Total predator. He's going to possibly do whatever the hell, God knows what. And watch your back, Sandoval. I will retaliate against you if you spread lies. So that's a good, makes sense.
Yeah. I will say we've said it before, but this is one of Ariana's worst moments as far as not having a leg to stand on.
Yes.
Not aging well. And I'll say overall that you can start to feel the strain of the show at this point, and certain people not wanting to participate, not feeling like they have to participate or have to participate less. I've been watching all of Bethany's 14 TikToks a day, and she's been getting into Roni again, and she was bragging about how she made so many more millions than all of the other women because they wanted her back. She was like, the show was flopping without me. They begged for me to come back. It was like a deal I couldn't refuse. I was making so much more money than everyone else. And she's like, I could come to trips late and leave early. So she was like saying all that. And this is obviously to a much lesser degree, but there's like a couple scenes where like Sheena's like, all right, I gotta go. I got somewhere to be. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no.
She does it twice.
Yeah.
She does it twice this episode. Yeah, no, you're totally right. I guess you could say Ariana's a little withdrawn, literally, because she doesn't like to be around any of these people, which she talked about in season 4. Also, the Sheena Adam stuff is so much more inauthentic than I remembered.
It's brutal. And the entire Billy Lee and Jeremy thing is fake as fuck.
I want to talk about that with you because my fake meter didn't go off. So let's talk about that when we get to the scene. But I remember thinking, Well, yeah, I want to talk about that. But then, and also, like, I remember thinking that Jax and Brittany were more on the rocks when the Adam stuff got introduced. This makes no sense. Brittany's not even one toe out of the door with Jax. Like, she doesn't want anything to do with this Adam guy. So that thing made no sense. I think you're right. I mean, this was when I felt like some elements were I was starting to see through some of the cracks here. Another scene at the TomTom site. I was like, no wonder they went to Vegas. No wonder Jeremiah was like, get your guys' ass to Vegas and meet Nick Elaine, because we are not filming at the construction dump one more time for 7 episodes in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you see Seth Rogen? Was it on The View? He was talking about Vanderpump Rules.
I think so. What did he say?
And he said they were like, oh, you and your wife went to something about her. And he was like, yeah, because we've been watching them try and get this goddamn shop open for years. So we had to see what the deal was. And the people were sort of alluding to it being like the show being fake or whatever. And he vehemently defended Vanderpump Rules as being real, which generally I agree, but we'll discuss its cracks.
It's real, but the cast members start to do things knowing what is going to be propulsive, and Sheena gets kind of busted, I would say, in the act here of trying to produce herself. You know what else I was listening to, just to talk about famous people talking about Vanderpump Rules. I listened to, he wasn't talking about Vanderpump Rules, but Danny McBride has been doing the press run to end all press runs for Righteous Gemstones. And he said he doesn't watch any TV when he's writing, but he goes, but all I'll be able to watch is I'll just sit back and watch Below Deck, an episode I've seen over 100 times. I was like, damn, I forgot that Danny McBride might be a huge Bravo head like that.
I would love to see him in the clubhouse.
Oh my God, that'd be so awesome. Oh my God,
Do you watch Gemstones?
Yeah.
Did you watch that premiere?
Oh, I loved it. Did you like it?
Did.
Yeah.
You didn't like it? Turned it off.
Why?
He was so pissed off.
Because it didn't have the cast in it?
He just thought it was such like indulgent crap.
Oh my God. Okay. I mean, absolutely you could define it as indulgent crap. Well, did you finish it?
Yeah, I did. I was like, I thought it was funny to like use HBO's money to do something fun and insane like that.
Yeah.
I wish it was funnier at all.
Yeah, it wasn't very funny. I did just like the mythology addition to the canon, and I thought that was a good origin story. And I actually, even though I saw the twist coming, spoiler alert for 15 to 20 seconds, that he would gradually actually become this man of God, and then it kind of represents the dichotomy of the Gemstones, where they are these rebel asshole people, but then they have the godliness. So I thought that was like an interesting way to make that the origin story, and also getting Bradley Cooper is such a flex in the Civil War shit. But you're right.
Goodwill for Bradley Cooper to do fun stuff, but I also felt like it was like a tinge celebratory of the Dixieland.
Oh yeah, they had to have that in it, I guess, because they're from where I don't even know where it's from. It's from South Carolina, right? Is that where they're supposed to be?
Yeah, I think he lives there.
Yeah, he does
full time. Yeah.
Well, anyway, all I just to say is that I get pleasure from knowing that Seth Rogen and Danny McBride also, tip their.
Are you watching The Studio?
No, is it good?
It's kind of similar in the sense that I'm like, good use of your resources to like try and do something ambitious. I have a hater in the house who hates all these men, so I have to keep him. Jimmy loves he's rewatching Eastbound and Down, like he loves those shows, but that episode specifically. And then The Studio is kind of like Seth Rogen's attempt, like it's all shot in oneers, like it's like stylish. He drives like a vintage car, all of the buildings are like beautiful mid-century. He's like dressed well, like it's like a little bit, if you don't want Seth Rogen to think he's cool, you're kind of like, stop. But
I see.
It's
Jimmy
like
doesn't
a good show.
Jimmy doesn't like Seth Rogen?
Hates him.
Really? Every movie he's been in?
He thinks he's a hack.
Whoa! Oh my God! Well, I mean, I guess I acknowledge. Yeah, I acknowledge that he's created some great stuff, but I know what you mean.
It's fun. The Studio is fun if you're into like being. I think his biggest inspiration was like the Larry Sanders Show, and it's like very self-referential and like the jaded money grubbing nature of like how stuff gets made. And like Martin Scorsese's in the first episode playing himself.
Wow.
And like, it's fun.
Okay. Paul Schrader panned it.
Oh, he did.
He said, why the hell do movies about studios get stuff so wrong? And I go, oh my God, Paul Schrader has just spoken. He just commented that on Facebook or whatever the hell he does. Well, let's think about these things forever, what we just said.
Well, he should hire some Vanderpumpers to be on it.
Totally.
To be extra meta.
Yeah, put your money where your mouth is, right?
Seriously.
Okay. All right, we're at the start of this episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Tom and Ariana's shitty ass apartment.
Yeah, still shitty. Where are we? I wonder if we're 2 seasons away from them getting a house. Season 8 is the first time they have a house, so we got a couple more years in there. But Ariana, unfortunately, I have to say this, she's going to get laser hair removal.
Yeah, that's like her storyline. For some reason, we're really continuing to talk about her bad self-image regarding her vagina. She said that she's not prepared to say that she loves her vagina, but she will be getting laser hair removal.
Did we hear, like, for me, there was a stepping stone missing. So first stepping stone was I hate, myself. And then self-love was the final stone on a new path. I think I missed 2 or 3 stepping stones where it was like Ariana is starting to appreciate herself. There was like the La conversation where she said you need to love your kitty or whatever, and I think she went to therapy. But I'm like,
right.
We're not clued in enough of this pathway. So when Ariana was saying I'm starting to celebrate I'm not fully in love, but I'm starting to get whispers of love for my vagina, I was like, I don't know where this storyline went and where on your journey you are.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm like, why is this your thing?
And then Ariana gets heaped a storyline upon her. So she gave us kind of, not the best storyline. I love the storyline of, I don't love it, but I think it's very compelling, her talking about her self-hatred of her body from that toxic, awful boyfriend. All that stuff is like as compelling psychologically as it gets. But then to do like laser hair treatment as one of the stepping stones, I wasn't as engaged with that. And they don't even give it any they don't give it any special what's that called? Attention on this episode. But then she gets given a storyline that Stassi and Kristen provided her organically, and she obviously did the worst thing in the world. When the stakes were raised, she kind of flopped out majorly in this episode. Yeah,
you can tell she like wants to quit the show.
Yeah, of course. But no offense to Ariana. We have to say Turtle Time is objective. And we have to say sketch comedy, that was rough. We talked about that. And then this one is probably number 1 for me, worst take or worst thing Ariana ever did morally. One
stain on her legacy.
They all have a big apron with a bunch of stains on it. Tom Sandoval got a huge one. Jax has so many stains you can barely see the white of the apron. Ariana has one dark stain.
Yeah, she didn't know yet that her brother is a questionable figure.
No, and she doesn't have the benefit of that footage yet, which we'll talk about.
Yes. Okay. The other through line of this is that James's dad is in town, and so he wants to impress him. He's been in England like post divorce or whatever, and Andros. He comes in, James is behind the DJ booth, and he goes, "I'm keeping it gangsta." And his dad goes, famously and iconically, pulls at his collar and goes, "London gangsta."
It's so cool. It's so iconic. 2 words that you hear them and everyone hears that beautiful voice in their head. Has there ever been a more iconic entrance to a cast member before in your life? London gangsta, he says. It's great. Andros Georgiou, we've talked about this, right? Mm-hmm. Have we ever mentioned that James Kennedy, like we've talked about this, right? That it's just a complete stage name?
Right.
That we don't even know that.
Talk about that.
I like looked it up today because I was like, his dad's name is Georgiou. His mom became a Georgiou. He's James Kennedy. Where the hell did that come from?
Is it not even his middle name or anything?
I don't know. I couldn't find any evidence. There's no evidence on the internet of why he made that decision. He didn't like Georgiou?
Huh. I guess James Kennedy is straightforward. Does he not even have a wiki page?
I think he deleted it. Is it like when you like people when you want to have a good name and you'd be like, I'm gonna name myself a Rockefeller?
Yeah. Like a rapper that's called like Rockefeller.
Well, yeah. Well, I was also thinking of like, yeah, like you take like the most American name, like you know, so that people associate you with like the Kennedys or whatever. But I just forgot that was just completely, not his name.
Yeah, we don't really think about that much.
No. Okay. We get a little peek into Andros's life. Everyone knows this, but we'll talk about it here. He managed George Michael, a famous musician who unfortunately passed away too soon. They were good friends. Not in addition to them being partners or whatever the hell it was. And James said, you could hear music billowing through every room of my house when I was growing up. George Michael would be popping out of one room, his music, I'm sure like Beethoven, and like it was just a house filled with music. And I was kind of thinking like, that's funny. It's funny imagery to imagine, you can only listen to one song at a time. So a house filled with music coming up from out of every room would be horrible,
Yeah. He's also, George Michael's his godfather.
Yeah.
And Raquel meets his dad for the first time. She says she feels like she's already met him. And then there's this weird moment where they're at Sir and the dad goes, or what are you drinking? Like, what do you drink when you're here? And he's like, I drink vodka or beer. And you can tell that he wants to say like, but I'm not drinking right now. But he is like pressured by his dad because his dad almost like bullies him and is like, no, but like, what are you drinking right now?
Yes.
And he's like, and Raquel's like, you're not drinking tonight, right? Because you're like absolutely banished from drinking here, like 1,000%. And then he goes, I normally drink vodka Red Bulls, but I'm not drinking tonight.
Yes. So what's happening here is that Andros thinks that every DJ in the world, Diplo, Dead Mouse, everyone who'd be DJing would be drinking their ass off, partying, and he does not know his son's relationship with alcohol at all. But Raquel knows this, Lisa knows this. He's banned from drinking alcohol at all, but he doesn't want to tell his dad that, and he doesn't want to either, look like he's like doesn't have his control of that. So he still wants to be cool in front of his dad, but then Raquel makes him kind of embarrassed, and so he has to say, no, what I was trying to say, Dad, is that I'm not drinking tonight because I can't drink when I work. So he's kind of trying to save face in front of Andros, but not give him a full peek into his drinking behavior.
Yes.
It's like trying to be cool in front of your dad. It's like I can't even describe what that's like. It's so hard. You try your best, but he ends up not drinking anything.
Yeah. Then Lisa joins. She goes, hello, Daddy. She says she hasn't seen Andros in years. Well, she calls him Andros.
Right.
And she's like, I think the first time I met him was with George Michael coming back from the south of France many years ago.
Yeah, that's a name drop in addition to like a what's that? Like a trip drop too. She goes,
Travelers.
She said two awesome, fun, enviable things at once. George Michael, south of France. He was a bit of a guy around town, she says about Andros. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if you and I were going to London in the 80s, like we had grown up there, and we pop into one bar and Ken Todd's over there in the corner, like throwing people out on their ass because they get too drunk, and then in another corner, Andros is DJing with George Michael at another pub.
I need where's the Hulu documentary about the Vanderpumps? I want to know for real what their legacy is.
We've talked about this. It would be so awesome. Ken Todd, Lisa was in those music videos. What was it? The New Radicals? It wasn't the New Radicals. It was like she was in like an iconic 80s video where it was
Video vixen.
Total video vixen. I want to see Andros stuff. And then they get into, I loved this. I love this sort of British cultural shit. They get into a little bit of a British tete-a-tete where he goes, Andros goes, James is the governor. And then Lisa goes, no. She goes, She goes, no, I'm the governor.
Boy, I'm the governor.
I'm the governor.
Back and forth.
It's awesome. It's just like, this is the kind of stuff, like when I watch the British Office, like this British culture stuff, I absolutely love. So apparently you have to define who the governor is.
That Britney Spears song with will.i.am where she was like, it's like, call the police. call the governor. And she's like, I am the governor.
No.
Britney Spears, I am the governor.
I am the. Does he say it like kind of like
She has like
Andros?
a British accent. Yeah.
I am the governor.
Go call the governor.
Go call the governor. Oh, I'm gonna listen to that. Maybe we'll
Oh, it's work, bitch.
let's end the episode with that moment.
Okay.
Can we remember?
It says, go call the police. Go call the governor. Bring the treble. Don't mean to trouble ya. I make the governor. Call me the governor.
Wow, who wrote this? Some British guy goes, I'm going to let you definitely know who wrote this song. I'm including
Maybe it was
British.
Andros.
Holy shit. Oh my God. So Andros, yeah, so they have this little bit of a, I'll say, what's that called? Butting heads, British style, till they assert who the governor is. And then we kind of learn that Andros is down and out on his ass.
Yeah, sucks. He's like, I don't trust him for 1 second.
No, you can see why George Michael might. Oh, did we say? Oh, no, that comes later. But yeah, you can tell why George Michael kind of kicked him to the curb. Okay, I never thought I'd say this word. Hooters.
Okay, I had like a real mental breakdown for like 1 second where I thought that Britney still worked there. Because it had her like in the outfit, like setting up, and I was like, wait.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like, what?
Time has not existed as you and I have done Turtle Time or recap this show. So every moment flows eternally with every other moment. So if you could have told me she's still working at Hooters, I would think that she was at this point.
Yeah. But it turns out she's throwing Jax a birthday party.
Yes.
It's at the same location that she did work at in 2015. They show a flashback. This is Jax's 38th birthday. And everybody shows up. Stassi is like, I don't know why the hell she's throwing him this party after everything he did to her with the cheating and everything, which is kind of the theme of the episode, is everyone going, why is he getting rewarded for his bad behavior?
Yeah, why is she doing all this? I thought it was nice that Stassi and Katie were invited, to be honest. A good thing Brittany was planning this event, because otherwise Stassi and Katie would not be coming to anything on Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
Jax also gives us a little bit of his origin, this is like adds to his mythology. He says Jax's dad took him here when he had just turned 15 years old, and it completely shaped who he is as a person after that. He goes, this is the perfect thing for me and my inner child right now, is going to Hooters when he's 38 years old. So a little peek into his kind of thoughts.
Yeah. It is funny that Brittany was just the Hooters waitress of his dreams. Like,
totally,
she was perfect.
Do you think the Hooters wings are actually even good? I mean, you don't eat wings, I guess, but I don't even know.
People say they are. I
don't even know if that's true. I don't even think you can give it that.
Well, we can't go anymore because it doesn't exist.
Really?
I don't think there's one left.
There's one if you want to ever go. There's sort of a Hooters equivalent called the Tilted Kilt in Phoenix. It's just like that, except it's Scottish. Tilted Kilt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Hooters to a T, except everything is oriented more towards Scottish culture. But the waiters and waitresses dress, I would have to say,
We had a place in Torrance. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was called Texas Lucy's, but like loose.
Whoa, really?
And they dress like skanks too.
Is it just one? Like one place? Was it a franchise?
That's a good question. I've never heard of it otherwise. But Texas. It was kind of like I never went there in childhood because I was like, ugh.
It's funny that Hooters had to start out first as just this kind of odd restaurant. Yeah, groundbreaking restaurant that did, and then there's a bunch of these franchises that never made it to Hooters level, like Tilted Kilt, Texas Lucy's. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones.
I like that it's tilted because it's a little twisted.
Totally. Yeah, it's really fun. Me and my family went there one time. So okay, Sheena goes, I don't give a shit if it's Jax's birthday. I want to talk about what's the headline in Sheena News today, and that's that he had been gossiping about what Rob actually said on the boat, which was that he doesn't say I love you to Sheena yet because he thinks that that's very meaningful, and Sheena has tilted it in her mind to think that Jax was saying that he's not in love with Sheena at all, that he's, you know what I mean? It's like everyone is making this worse. Rob said something that's like very real and legitimate, and I think Jax probably put a little bit of a bad tilt on it, but then Sheena took it the absolute worst way, and so she's finally confronting Jax about what he's been spreading.
Yeah, and she, every time she brings up the subject, digs herself in a hole.
Yep.
Jax is like, so he has said I love you? And she goes, absolutely. And then in her confessional, she goes, we're not the kind of people who just routinely say it every time we get off the phone. There's like more meaning to it for us. Like, as if making it sound like they take it so seriously that they don't say it ever.
Yeah, and as
if she wouldn't say it every 10 seconds if it was allowed.
I was just going to say, that's Sheena's philosophy, to kind of keep those I love yous sacred and only once every 6 months or so. She says, again, that they're going to get married. Like, she has no doubts, whatever. And then he's like, okay, whatever. Like, and he says in his confessional, like, she's always trying to paint that everything's perfect, blah, blah, blah. And it sort of ends with him just being like, all right, like, whatever. Yeah, she goes, well, is this stuff all happening a little slower than I would want? And Jax goes, that right there, that's what I meant. He goes, I meant that you're on different pages and that you're moving too fast. He doesn't even remember probably what exact words Rob said at this point. So yeah, it's not. Sheena's still upset when they leave, and she leaves the birthday. This is the first time she leaves an event this episode. Then she does it again later. I was like, what the hell are you going to do? I know. She leaves early and calls him potentially a slur. Yeah, let's say it so that we make sure. I'm going to just spell it. Well, no. I shouldn't even spell it, but blank tard. Yeah, they block out. It could have been, you could change it up. Like, it could have been like fuck tard or something like that. Which we're still allowed to say, right? I guess. Yeah. I think they just gave it bleep, and then we're going to say it. They left a TARD, so it's up to us to determine what she said. What an awful way to... You design that any which way you please. You can come up with Villa Rosa any combination. Let's give Sheena the benefit of the doubt here. We don't know what preface came before TARD here. Ass. TARD. I like that. Ariana says, kind of a funny Ariana line. She goes, it means a lot that Jax would take us to his church on his birthday. And that's kind of being like, Hooters is his church. I thought that was kind of silly. Yeah. Zach Wickham and Brad were in presence. Zach gets a huge full, like, his face on screen. I saw it. He was like touching Jax to talk to him. I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And then the Toms give Jax a shorts romper, and they have them too, and they all model, and he looks like his pupils are small. Yeah. Now, can I ask one question about this? Sure. Why does he get a romper? Has he been making fun of rompers and off camera? It's like an inside joke. He saw a romper once. Yeah. It's not a moo-moo. Wouldn't it have made more sense if he had gotten Jax a big moo-moo that Jax made fun of for Schwartz? Yeah, I don't know. At first he's like, I can't wear this. And then they have some fun with it. Brittany's like, you look like you work for UPS. And he's like, I got a package for you. And you're like, okay. She wants him to take it off immediately, though. She hates how he looks in this romper. She's like, my mom's going to think you're homosexual. She was so worried about that. But yeah, I mean, give us a little explanation for why you got him a romper. I don't get it. And we were watching this show like... with a Did you see microscope. Stassi in the background? She looked pissed. Like, she didn't laugh. She was like, what the fuck is this? Oh my God. She hated that Jax was I think no one wants to be at any of this shit. Like, they're all, like, not supposed to... Like, at this point, the groups are being mixed in ways that they would not prefer. I think you're right. And this party kind of sucked. Yeah. Totally. No offense to Brittany and Jax, but this party sucked. Yeah. Low energy. Yeah. Then we get... Billy's like really in the mix at this point. Her and Stassi go to Kristen's, which is like, what is happening? Like, it's like Billy's kind of in between. She's like, hangs out with both sets of girls at this point, which is how this drama begins. Right. She tells them that Jeremy asked her out on a date at work. And this clip, you have to admit, was staged as hell. So tell me, okay, because Jeremy is framed perfectly, Billy is framed perfectly. It seems like a scene. And are you saying it's fake because it's like it's so obvious that they just both want screen time from this date? Yeah, he in that little like kitchen area. He's like,
what are you doing this week? Would you want to like grab a drink or something? And she's like, I'm down. And it's like, okay, maybe there's a world in which they were already having a flirtation and then the producers heard about it and were like, we want to catch you asking her out. So like it could just be fake in that fashion, or the whole thing is just fake because he's like, I would love to get my ass into the mix here because he's in a scene later. Like he's starting to join the social group. He's like he's part of the group all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Billy is a good way for him to get in because she's just starting on the show. So it's almost like a reverse James or something, where James knows how his bread was going to get buttered with Kristen. I mean, you're right. Just inherently it is fake because they would have never been filming Billy and Jeremy in that area if they had not been prompted to say, look what... I didn't even think about it like that. You're right.
And Lisa is like supporting this because she keeps bringing up that he saved Sir. She has a little scene, well, not to step on it, but she gives him money later. We kind of touched on that was going to happen. Like she's in support, like she's helping him join the show, it feels like.
I think you're right. Wow. This was sort of the life raft to get Jeremy to be talked about, and then he probably didn't like what was ultimately talked about when he didn't know what was going on, in other scenes. But so she says that Jeremy asked her out. Kristen says a very, not funny, but interesting way to introduce it. She goes, "You're going to a public place, right?" And Billy goes, "What the hell does that mean?" And Stassi goes, they're very nervous. They're tiptoeing around this because they know this is salacious as hell and damning as hell. And the wrath that they're potentially going to suffer from Ariana for saying this on camera. Stassi goes, I think he's a little creepy. And then they show some of the most damning footage I've ever seen in my life. It's like, if who knows what would have happened if they didn't have the footage from the wedding. I would have still, obviously, I would have still believed Stassi. She doesn't just make shit up to make people look bad. She would never do that. Like, she's mean-spirited, but she wouldn't create a full fake scandal on this show. Yeah. And then they show, what did you think when they showed Jeremy drunk as a skunk running around that? I remembered that before we watched it. It's ingrained in my brain. He's going up to Stassi. He goes, Stassi! He goes, I'm not going to hit on you anymore. Don't give me a dirty look. Get over here. And then he grabs her. And you see Stassi is like this, where she wants to push him away. And he's trying to, you could almost argue that he's almost trying to kiss her on the cheek.
Bear hug from behind, like a weird, like dirty uncle or something, like, don't give me dirty looks. I'm done hitting on you. We're good. And she's laughing, but she's like, ah!
She's really uncomfortable. And then the way she describes it is she says that, like, in the pit of her stomach, she felt so unwell by this. And also the extra context is that they captured one moment, but Stassi said that he was doing this all night. Running after her. He did this to multiple women at Katie's wedding. He was just on the dance floor trying to make out or have sex, or they call him predatory, whatever he was doing at the end of this night.
And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Ariana still through to the reunion defends to the death, even having seen the footage or whatever.
I think so too.
And this is like peak Me Too era. Like, this is like post-Trump election, peak Me Too. So like this had extra weight on it because at that time it was like, believe women, everyone was talking about like inappropriate behavior, boundaries, consent, like that. We were all talking about exactly that right at this time. So for Ariana to like pivot when she's usually like very staunchly supportive of those ideals, it's the question we were all talking about, where it's like, what if it's someone you know who you don't know to behave that way, but you're told that they are? And she was like, complete bullshit. She would not acknowledge it. So it was like very interesting, kind of juicy, I think.
I think so too. So they're kind of talking about it. They're still being sensitive. I mean, it's a huge thing to say, but they're kind of being like, well, just, that's our opinion. Like, still go on a date. They go, oh, we only said this because we don't want Jeremy to just like use you, like make love to you, and then you never see him again. And then Billy says, I'll say it. She goes, I'm down to just get fucked by Jeremy. I'm fresh out of a relationship. And then they go, oh, okay, good. That's fine. If you just want to get fucked by Jeremy, then don't take this warning. They're pretty diplomatic in a way. I mean, like, I was just trying to think of this with all context removed of what you know about Stassi, what you know about Ariana, the brother. If you heard this, like, sorry, you would want somebody to tell you if a person you were about to go on a date with behaved a little creepily or weirdly at a wedding, and you were put off by that person's personality. I think that's a nice general warning, right? Not something to be offended by.
Yeah, I can understand the other side. Although having watched how they went about it, I don't think that they were mean about it. But like, I can see being like, why are you like shitting on something I'm excited about? Like, she's self-conscious about like where she stands in the group and like with her identity and all of that. So I understand being like, come on, like, don't make me feel like the only person that would ask me out is like a fucking loser. But they're like, we know this person. We have a specific experience with him. So I think there's no reason for them not to say that. And I think that they were nice about it. They weren't like being mean girls, I don't think, at all.
I don't think so either. For how bad they could have been, I felt like they handled it well. And it's up to Billy to decide how she wants to use this information. Do you care that Jeremy was trawling around the wedding drunk as a skunk, trying to have sex with anybody he could get his hands on? That's something you should know, but Billy kind of treats it like, you're scaring me. You really affected my mindset before I went on this date, which, I mean, I guess that's true. Okay, Britt and Sheena, a little bit of lunch. This is when some what the hell is going on with Sheena this episode? She might be, bottom rung here in terms of the quality she's bringing on the show. They go on a lunch. Sheena says everything is amazing with Rob, if I remember correctly, right?
This also felt like inorganic. Like, it felt like they were at like Villa Blanca or something. I was like, why are you guys at like a fancy lunch the night after the Hooters party?
Yeah, it was called like bacon. It was called like bacon lunch or something. Britt is saying that everything is a lot better with Jax, right?
Yeah. She's like, everything's so much better. And Sheena's like, I just wish you could be as happy as I am with Rob. Like, that's what I want for you. So she's full charge ahead in trying to get Brittany to leave Jax and have fun, potentially with this guy, Adam, who we will meet shortly. She says, a lot of guys are asking about you, just so you know. And she goes, speak of the devil, his ears must have been ringing because I just got a text from that hot new guy at Sir Adam. And she's like, who is that?
And she has no clue. And then they show Adam, which, I don't remember liking Adam too much. He's the recipient of that Penguin Award. But I don't really like him. But the one scene they show to introduce him, he's making a margarita and then he completely blows it and he fills the thing to the rim and overflows it. And the guy goes, whoa, that was the shittiest margarita I've ever seen in my life. That's the clip. And then Sheena also tries to explain how she's doing this fake shit. She's like, well, he didn't know. He kind of like liked you and thinks you're hot, but then he heard that you might have broken up with Jax and he doesn't know the status now. So she's trying to like make it more realistic why Adam is possibly pining for Brittany at this stage.
Not that he couldn't think Brittany is hot and be interested, but it's like a total, plot line grab.
I think so
it's
too.
Just bullshit.
And maybe it's why this scene also feels like just out of nowhere at this bacon lunch, because it's like this is just to foster this storyline for Sheena to have. This
feels like, so we're on the precipice of, so there's next season, then there's the soft reboot, like, or whatever you want to call it, the younger class.
Oh, I can't wait.
It feels like this is them starting to be like, we need some young blood. Like, they're like, let's get Jeremy in the mix. Let's get Adam in the mix. Let's get Billy Lee in the mix.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
No. Oh my God. It's a no. No, I think so too. Also, you wish that these scenes had maybe come up 4 episodes ago when Brittany and Jax were like
actually
not doing well, because this Sheena motivation is just completely because Jax fucked her over by repeating that conversation, but she was completely fine with Brittany going back to Jax up until a point. So now it's like, it's too late. Don't do this kind of stuff. This should have been right in the aftermath of the cheating scandal. Anyway, so I didn't like this, rewatching this stuff. Okay, back to TomTom. It's now, a little bit of a movement. There's dirt. There's a construction crane thing that's undoing a bunch of dirt. And then they go inside. Schwartz is wearing sandals.
Yeah, they do a full sandals montage. That's what he loves to wear. And then we get again like Sandoval trying to give notes of any kind where he's like, we got to make sure the ice wells are in the center of the bar. And Lisa goes, she points at Ken and goes, he's built more bars than you've had hot dinners. And it is like, I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I'm pretty sure that the setup of the like bar is like a standard health operation.
Absolutely.
Like, there's like rules on how it's aligned and set up. So that Tom was like, it would be best if the ice wells were in the center. It's like, all right.
Yeah, it's like, just shut up. I also love that expression, hot. I want to start saying stuff is,
Hot
I've had
dinners.
more, what do you say? How do you use it? I've had more fun in my life than you've had hot dinners or something like that, right? It's
Like a double insult because it's like Tom eats crap.
I love the idea of hot dinners being such a luxury. I was like, how many hot dinners
It's
has
like,
Sandoval had?
Fucking like Oliver mentality.
Totally. Oliver had never had a hot dinner. He was just eating that cold gruel that he famously asked for more of. And then, okay, I have to say, this is fun. This is good. Okay, so he goes, I want dry ice. Sandoval said that, and they go, shut up, shut up. Shut up. They go, put your shoes on, to Schwartz. Shut up. And then they go, Lisa goes, I've got an assignment for you. I need you two to go around Los Angeles and find the best cocktails in existence. And then that's what I want you to bring back to me for the menu. And I was like, great job, Lisa. Get them out of this fucking construction pit that we keep having to see, and go something drinking oriented for the show that goes them going around town, getting their favorite cocktails, and then bringing what they learned from that experience to TomTom. It's good from an entertainment standpoint, and it's also just good for what you should actually do, since she's going to be wanting them to fulfill the cocktail obligation of this bar. So good job, Lisa. I don't remember if they actually do this, but it's a great storyline to start.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you and I had been given that?
Yeah,
Riley,
give us like a black card.
Riley, Amy, I want you to discover the best cocktails in Los Angeles and write a book about it. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. I know he becomes obsessed with that like ice press that makes cool shaped ice and whatever. And they're like, we're not spending money on that, you dumbass. Do
you have one? Of course. Do you have one drink that you would add to the book of the best Los Angeles drinks? I was trying to think. I would say a Hams beer from Waltz. But it's not, that's not a cocktail. Probably a margarita from Casa Vega, the famous, authentic one that comes with a little extra thing that you pour on the top of it, maybe for a margarita.
Or maybe a, like Musso's martini, because you get the little sidecar.
Absolutely. Musso's has to go in that cocktail conversation. So anyway, this was a great idea. Back to now, Lala and Billy going to Sheena's house. Sheena has taken all of the photos. There's a bunch of blank hollowed out space where all of the Shay photos used to be, and now there's a bunch of little temporary photos of Rob and Sheena around the house to to show that she's in a new relationship.
Yeah, there's like a lot of scenes in Sheena's closet this season where it's just kind of a weird place where we keep ending up. She's lending Billy outfits for her date with Jeremy. She's like, I think they're a perfect match. They both smoke weed.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, that's it. They both smoke weed and they're both friends, I think she says.
Yeah, and Billy Lee goes, listen to this. Stassi and Kristen told me that Jeremy's creepy and that they hope that I'm meeting him in a public place. And they're all like, what the fuck? Like, that's awful. Like, that's horrible.
Lala was like, I was just letting this person, Stassi, get into, our world. And she was like, I just was starting to like her. And then she does this shit that completely pisses me off. And I was like, wow, damn, Lala is like the gatekeeper, the bridge between this ostracized group and the rest of the show. And now Lala's regretting that she even gave Stassi a chance.
And Lala keeps talking about everyone's punani. She's like, Billy has great tits and I know her pussy's bomb too. I'm like, can you like stop?
Yeah, it's like Lala. And then they try on clothes. And then Lala decides, hey, I don't think that creepy stuff is true at all. He's probably not a predator in any way. I'll go with you to the bar before
I'll protect you. And they go to that bar that on like Melrose or whatever, where they've been like a million times, where Sheena had her birthday. I think it's changed identities like 10 times, but she gets a drink with her before the date, and she basically like tags out when he gets there, and she uses her black scent when he arrives and says, "What it do, boy?"
Yes, she does. And then this is now the cameras are just on these two cast members, and Billy says, "I was nervous about this." She doesn't say that you were called creepy and that I've heard about what you did at Katie's wedding, but she does say, "I was worried about you because I'm trans and I didn't know how you'd feel, or if like there would be some, I don't know, like if he would feel awkward or uncomfortable." And he goes, "No, you shouldn't have thought about that at all. You were a woman and I think you're amazing," or something. And she goes, "How are you so dope, Jeremy?" And he goes, "I don't know, but I am."
She's like, "I love it."
Yeah.
Then we get James and his dad drinking on Hollywood Boulevard. How the hell they decided on this place, I do not know.
What was it called?
It was called like Royal or something, but it's in that building on Hollywood Boulevard that's like 100 years old, and it has like 5 different businesses in it. It's like in prime shit Hollywood Boulevard, and
wow,
they appear to sell those like nasty Vegas slushy drinks.
Yeah,
and I'm like, who meets their dad on Hollywood Boulevard for like a joke slushy cocktail?
Totally. I thought the same thing. I go, what the hell is this? You think they're having a permitting issue on Vanderpump Rules? That's why they're filming in Sheena's closet. And
it's like the trashiest place I could conjure.
Yeah. I've been to that what's that? Cabo Cantina on Hollywood Boulevard. Is it right around there?
Yeah. It's like the depths of hell.
Yeah. James goes, "Hey, on my slushie, I want the electric vodka slushy. Can you put an extra shot on the top of that thing?" I was like, "Oh
That's
my God.
You'd have to pay me to drink that."
You'd be so drunk on Hollywood Boulevard. Hollywood Boulevard is, the worst cultural probably thing in the world. And it sucks so bad that it's one of the 6 things that you would go to if you were visiting Los Angeles for the first time. Yeah. I mean, it could not be worse in any way. I mean,
I will say I went to the Egyptian last week because I go all the time, but I like needed to eat before. I was so hungry. So I went to Los Burritos, which is a chain, but there's one on Hollywood Boulevard, and it's like cute and old and has like a counter with like little stools, and the bean and cheese burrito was good, and they have beers in there.
Whoa. Okay.
So if you're ever trapped on Hollywood Boulevard and you need to just like grab quick, cheap food and a beer, Los Burritos.
Oh, okay. I might get trapped on Hollywood Boulevard pretty soon. Okay, this is fun. I love this. Andros goes, "You know me, James. I'm your dad." And he goes, "You're getting known around here." And he goes, "Your heritage is right, James." He goes, "You were christened by George Michael himself." And then James goes, "Can I hear the story again, Dad? He dipped me in holy water and then he spit on me." And so, you have to imagine this. James getting dipped in water by George Michael. George Michael lifts him up and then spits in his face. And then Andros goes, "No." Sorry, I'm not going to do his accent because he goes, "No, spitting, it means you take your life skills from him." From George Michael. And I was like, what the hell is this British custom that you guys are talking about?
Greatness onto ye.
Is that something that is happening in London? When you christen a new baby, you spit in their face to give them your life skills.
Hawk to on that babe.
I think George Michael might have just accidentally spit on James's head, and Andros tried to make it seem like it was meaningful and powerful, because there's no way that people are just spitting on babies' heads after the christening, unless we have British Little Turtle or Villa Rosa VIPs or Little Turtle Cuties. Let us know. In Britain or the UK, do you spit after a christening to give them your lifeblood or whatever happened to James?
Okay, then James he emotionally tells us like how everything fell apart, how they used to live in a posh house. He started to lose their cars, and then they had to live in an apartment. Then they were living above what do you say, like a
Double-decker bus
restaurant
depot.
or
No,
something.
I think he said one of the rowdiest pubs in London.
And they show a photo because Andros is like, I had you at 3 years old behind the double decks. And there's a cute little photo of James super young behind the like DJ equipment with like headphones on.
Very
and
cute.
James in his confessional is like sobbing, saying that he misses his dad living here. And he's just so emotionally affected by the whole divorce and his dad being gone. And obviously there's just like so much like, tangled trauma about wanting to impress his dad, but like that whole family is like, it's some sad shit.
Yeah, and like you said, a docu-series on like what Andros did to George Michael would be so interesting. Like I want to know the falling out. Was it embezzling? What kind of weird music business shit did he do to lose that golden goose, George Michael? It's also interesting to me that Andros and PK almost had the same like reality. That would have been if George Michael sadly hadn't passed away. Imagine PK and Andros living on a reality show together with Boy George and George Michael,
right?
And all the fun stuff that
they
could
like
possibly
definitely
happen.
know each other, right?
Absolutely, for sure. They have the exact same. It sounds like they have the same situation, except Boy George was never as successful as George Michael and is still with us to this day.
Yeah. Okay, so then we go back to Sir, and there's sort of like a synchronicity right here. Lisa goes, she's going, how's dinner to the guests? And she goes, you got to get the blackberry cobbler. And then cut to towards the end of the episode, Brittany calls her dad, and he's like, I've been out picking blackberries to make some cobbler. I was like, ah!
This is the stuff that I live for and that we do this Patreon for. This is why the Villa Rosa VIP program exists, to talk about stuff like this. Lisa talks about blackberry cobbler being the die-for dessert that you have to indulge in at Sir. And then what are the odds that Brittany's dad was out also in brambles and bush picking blackberries to make his own blackberry cobbler?
Do you think they import his blackberries?
It's too much of a coincidence. I have to believe there is some connection between them getting precious Kentucky blackberries from his farm to get it to Lisa immediately. That was amazing to me.
Yeah. Then Lisa brags that Max got a $2,000 tip the night before, which
Holy
I'm like,
shit.
damn, there's like high rollers like that eating at Sir.
I've been served by Max. I know. Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah, I've been served by Max before, and I don't think I left him anywhere near that. I mean, only 20%.
You're like, I didn't leave him anything.
No, well, yeah. No, I think I gave him the customary 15%.
Yeah, I still remember on Scandal all night, he was working his ass off, like running around. Ariana tells Lisa that Stassi is saying mean shit about her brother. She's like, it's so ridiculous. And she goes, but he saved Sir from burning down. Meanwhile, Lisa was saying she was going to burn it down.
Stassi, she said Stassi wrote a letter to her saying that she would burn it down. I was like, when the hell did Stassi do that? She wrote a letter saying, I'm going to burn down Sir. Did that get delivered to Ken and Lisa's house?
Like, damn, is that like terrorism?
But also Ariana doesn't go fully in, and I can tell Lisa doesn't want to touch this shit with a 10-foot pole, because I was like, oh my God, if Lisa heard this, I want to see where her moral scales would stand, because all of her would want to defend Jeremy. She kind of already does, but Ariana doesn't say that what he was doing, creepy at the wedding.
She goes and finds him, and she goes, my little fireman. She's like, are you starting fires or putting them out? And he's like, a little bit of both, I guess. And she hands him, I think she described it as a few $100 to improve his week. And she's like, you really, she's like, he saved me a lot of cash, actually, when he saved the restaurant from burning down. So she hands him a little wad, and he says, thank you.
It looks a little too little of a wad to me.
I
would give him a lot more.
$1,000.
I don't know why this is true. Absolutely. She should have said, I gave him $1,000. She gave him $300. But I have an implanted memory that I've already talked about on Patreon of Ken sidling up to Jeremy, whispering in his ear, and then pushing a white envelope filled with cash into his chest, and then walking away. And this
Maybe
is
he gives him more.
Maybe they both independently give Jeremy, but I'm like, why do I remember it so clearly? Ken doing this really cool move of just pushing cash into Jeremy's chest. Maybe he does it later, but whatever. We'll see. But this is Lisa. It was good of her to give him a wad of cash. It was nice.
Yes. Then we go to the Red Lion in Silver Lake. it's kind of random that the girls chose to go here. But
Talk about, yeah, they're expanding their horizons with all these new locations. Maybe the permitting locations department went nuts and said we want to go to a bunch of new spots.
Yeah.
I'll say, out of all of the bars in the world besides Sir, I've been to Red Lion the most in my life, probably 100 times. So I was so happy to see Red Lion on camera.
I think Kristen has been there on the show before, like maybe during the daytime.
Rachel O'Brien.
With Rachel, yeah.
Yep.
And then, but this time it was the whole group at night. And they talk about Ariana's laser appointment, and they roll the clip, and they all do it together. So they're all looking at her hoo-ha, and she's just completely bare, and they just have her vagina blurred. And I was like, why is this a thing?
Yeah, they show Lala going, oh my gosh. She goes, whoa. She's like, if I had that vagina the same as you, I would do porn. And then Sheena also is getting lasered off completely, too.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Does that mean it's gone forever? Sorry to get specific, but is that a decision that for the rest of your life?
You will have to do maintenance. So, like, you do it like every 6 weeks for however many sessions you need, depending on your, like, how coarse or dark your hair is, which actually the darker it is, the better, because it, I know a lot about this. It picks up on pigment. So if you have like fair hair, you might as well not do it because it can't even find what the hell your follicle is. And if you have dark hair, it can find it and it works great. But I have found personally that it will work for a long period of time. Then you'll have to go again, but it does like weaken overall for potentially permanently.
So your body says, I'm not going to grow hair here anymore. They keep doing
it's like
something.
trying to kill your follicle, basically.
Wow. I would be, I mean, I'm not in this position at all, but like I'd be worried about like doing that permanently. Not worried about it for health wise.
It is a decision you have to make aesthetically.
Yeah. All right. Well, it made me think about a lot of stuff. I have so many notes about this.
And it doesn't hurt.
Really. Oh, good. Okay. And then Kristen, we got to clock this. This is important for the legacy of Vanderpump Rules on Patreon. Kristen says, wow, someone has a nice looking vagina. And I will say, we don't ever get to see on camera the steps, the bridge that Kristen and Ariana make to become friends. We went from hit me with a bus, I hate you, you're psychotic, bipolar, all of the shit. One of the worst feuds in Vanderpump Rules history, to slow inroads being made between these two. And I remember being jarred and shocked around season 7 or season 8 when Ariana and Kristen just become thick as thieves, best friends. These are the little moments we need to keep track of on the road to them being friends again.
Yeah, Kristen clearly in this moment has made a decision to be nice. Like, she doesn't pile on in this, and is sort of like, when Ariana gets upset, she goes, sorry, I don't know what this is. Like, I'm not part of this, basically. Yeah,
and also, we'll say it. So immediately, Lala is really, I gotta say, I get annoyed with Lala towards the end of the series, but Lala is kind of propelling the shit out of this episode, and she goes, I'm not gonna sit here and let a big elephant be in the room. Stassi, I love you, baby, but what the hell were you saying about that shit with Jeremy? And then it immediately, like, you didn't think that Stassi didn't know that this was going to be called up. And it's so awkward to be next to Ariana, who Stassi knows Ariana would fucking ether her. And she's already had to run crying from Ariana fighting her. And now Stassi is called out in the moment at a close-quartered table that she called Ariana's brother creepy. I was like, that's about as high stakes as it gets.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. And also, last thing I'll say right before this conversation starts, Sheena is like, Rob loves my vagina. He's not a boob guy. And I'm like, he just loves her whole.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't even hear her say that. She said he loves my vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she goes, not a boob guy. Right?
Yes. So, okay. So yeah. They bring up, they're like, Lala's like, why would you make Billy feel bad about, going on her date or whatever? And they're like, we told her to go have fun. Like, and Sheena's like, that's not how she said it. She said that he's like a murderer. And she's like, this is so ridiculous. Katie goes, I think you should tell him about the wedding stuff. And Stassi's like, no, like she looks like she's already about to cry, where she's like, I don't want to hurt anyone. This is going to be bad. Like, I know that this is like in the red zone. Like,
Yes.
this is like fucked.
In the middle of all this fake shit, something real just landed on all of their plates at the Red Lion. And Stassi does not know how to properly navigate it because she doesn't want to hurt Ariana's feelings. She knows it's damning. So it's really compelling to watch.
It's funny that like Stassi keeps finding herself in these very like sensitive topics. Like she got in trouble about the Billie Lee shit and then like barely got out of it. Then now she's bringing up like sort of like a Me Too sort of thing and like getting like she's on the right side of this one, but and then it's like she's about to get canceled for real soon. I wonder if she's like, when it happened, if she was like, this is what I didn't want.
I'm absolutely sure. I mean, a part of this is that culturally it's all just so resonant now in this time in 2017. But in a way, I almost feel like Stassi's story sort of translates. Like, I mean, even without, because I didn't even think about the Me Too moment. It's just kind of still, I didn't think about it in that context, I guess.
Yeah.
I would just, if no matter when someone told this story, I feel like it would still be extremely heightened, you know? But I guess, like you said before, it makes it so much more wild,
This
Ariana's
was like
decision.
Harvey Weinstein
right.
year.
Yeah, right. I guess for me personally, like I need to remember it in that context. And then Katie goes, she says, I'll say it, which is awesome. I mean, this is what Katie is so great at. When she's brave and powerful, she is amazing. She goes, I'll say it. There were numerous people at my wedding that said Jeremy was being creepy and around them. And she goes, sorry, no offense, but he was predatory at my wedding, which is the first time that word is used.
Yes.
And
by the way, Sheena has already bailed.
Yeah.
She leaves right before the action.
So I don't understand. I had no, she didn't say I have to go to see Rob.
She goes, there's somewhere I need to be.
Yeah. Before even I think that the predatory discussion even gets talked about.
She
so
just storms off. It's fucking weird.
Since when does Sheena not want to be on camera? Something is going on. I don't know what it was. Katie says the word predatory, which like you have to imagine Ariana hearing the words predatory and your brother firsthand in a scene, and she goes, if in her confessional, she doesn't say this in real life, she doesn't handle it very well obviously in person, but in her confessional she goes, if I could melt the skin off of Katie's face right now, I would. And then she goes,
to use that word is disgusting.
Yes.
And she's like, I was hanging out with him the whole night, which is like obviously impossible. It was like 8 hours.
And what a limp, weak defense. I was with him the whole time. It's like, no, you weren't. We saw the footage. It all looks so bad that we actually have a glimpse into the footage, because otherwise we'd be like, I don't know. Were Sandoval and Ariana glued to Jeremy's hip the whole night? Something that never happens at a wedding. Like people don't go off and do something. So she says that, and then Ariana goes, I was hanging out the whole night, and she goes, well, it happened. Katie said, no, you weren't. We know you weren't. And she goes, why don't you be an advocate for those who can't? And she uses that language against Ariana, and then Ariana knows she's fucking trapped, because this is exactly the world in which everyone should be in agreement on. You just said a very weak, weird defense in defense of your predatory brother that multiple people accuse him of being, and then she is being told that she's not advocating for women, and then Ariana completely shuts down. She goes, oh, okay, so you're saying that I don't support women? Okay, great job, Katie. And it's kind of like she has no defense for that.
Yeah. And then like Lala tries to comfort her, and she's like, this isn't even a group of people I want to be spending my time with anyway. Like she's basically saying like, I don't even want to be here already, and now I'm under attack. And Lala's like, I admire you endlessly. And Ariana like kind of whispers into her ear and is like, they're about to cross a line with me that they will never come back from. Like she's like, I'm done. Like, and then she leaves.
Yeah. So it's really she leaves, so it's really a pretty bad scene at Red Lion. I mean, it's amazing, but you obviously wish that the fallout had happened, and it's very quick. It all happens the minute they sit down. Maybe Lala should have strategically waited for about 5 or 10 minutes or something, because the scene ends once Ariana and Sheena have already left. They don't give anything else to this. So yeah, I wish that more, like it had been more impactful, I guess, at Red Lion, but I guess it was in a way. I just wish that there was more like them talking about it and reckoning with it in real time.
Yeah.
Also, what you
Kristen is like, when she gets up and leaves, she's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is about. Like, whatever. And Stassi is like, yet again, Ariana can dish it but can't take it. Like, she will say the craziest shit about all of us, and then we bring up one thing about her brother and she makes a whole stink about it.
Totally. All right. Jackson, Brittany, man cave alerts. Every time I get completely covetous of this man cave. And guess who now has a electronic drum kit in the mix? You can play it as much as you want. It barely makes a noise, and Jax is having the time of his life. And then Tom Sandoval comes over with a guitar. I don't know if 100% he wanted to jam out with Jax, or if he quite possibly had his eyes on going over to Tom and Katie's apartment while Stassi is there to confront them about the Jeremy shit. But he gives Jax a little fun moment where they get to jam out together.
Yes. And Tom brings up the Jeremy shit. He's like, Ariana told me about this, and there's a clip of them in bed where Ariana does like an impression of them telling her, where she does like a whiny, like, they said that like Jeremy was like making them feel basically like, in quotes, uncomfortable. Like, it was the most like women be lying portrayal. And I was like, damn.
I know, it's rough. I mean, it really shows that, like, for her brother transcends all moral questioning. Like, she just could not believe for 1 second that he treated somebody like that at the wedding.
Yeah, Tom agrees that it's total bullshit. He goes to full bat for Jeremy in this, and he goes over to Tom and Katie's while they have Stassi and Kristen over doing like crafts or some bullshit.
He interrupted a scene where they were going to do a
candles,
perfume making thing, because they are, again, like we keep saying, they are completely on the outs. And then Tom Sandoval comes over and he starts out kind of reasonable. He goes, "Hey, I heard there was some stuff, maybe you guys were talking about Jeremy." And he goes, "You guys should know, that he's had to deal with a lot of stuff." And then Kristen kind of does damage control in the moment, which I was very surprised. Even to Tom Sandoval, she goes, sorry, no. We were just talking about, he was flirting on a lot of people, going from girl to girl. And then she goes, "I don't know. I think I was the one who called him creepy." Kristen like takes the bullet of the creepy word, which they know is the worst word, in this whole situation that they've used. And Stassi goes, "No, I'm the one who said he was creepy."
And they're like, Tom is like, "Jeremy's had to deal with a lot recently." Schwartz is like, "You can't extrapolate his like entire personality from one night."
But what's really weird is when Schwartz says that, he's kind of yelling and talking to Tom Sandoval. So you could imagine that he's yelling at Sandoval, but he's defending Sandoval by saying you can't extrapolate what Jeremy did to be his overall behavior or something.
Right.
It's like he doesn't want to get busted standing up for Sandoval again. So he's looking as if he's, you know what I mean? It was really odd to me.
Yeah, and then Stassi's like, well, there were like, it was me, it was Rachel, it was a bridesmaid. Like, she listed like all these different women. And she's like, and Sandoval was busy playing his shitty ass trumpet, so he didn't even know what the hell was going on. And he's yelling at her, and she goes, "I'm so sick of protecting men." And he goes, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, he's so indignant that it got to that. Like like that she made it like he's defending men or whatever, but he really doesn't have a good defense except yelling. Also, when he says, he's got a lot of things to deal with, Stassi goes, "Well, then he probably shouldn't act creepy, because he does act creepy." And I have to believe the fact that Stassi has tripled down on this, that there's more evidence than even just what they've said, that Jeremy has been creeping his ass around this town. They are solid in this, what they're saying about Jeremy.
Yeah, because I forget if it was before or after this, but Ariana is saying that Stassi will, say anything to bring someone down or something like that. And I'm like we were saying, I'm like, she's a bitch about like when she's in disagreement with someone, but she's not like doing smear campaigns.
Yeah. Do I trust Stassi or Jeremy? I trust Stassi. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say.
We roll the beautiful bean footage. Like, he literally like almost picks her up off the ground and like runs off with her.
Yeah. Then Sandoval, we have to say, Sandoval at his worst is when he thinks he's getting the back of the little guy or whatever he calls himself, the defender of the ostracized. But in this instance, he comes off so lame because he's screaming about defending Jeremy. And he goes, you all better watch your backs. What we talked about.
He goes, check your fucking facts. And he's like, if you start telling lies, I'll tell all the facts about you guys.
Is it so hard for them to believe that Jeremy was running around drunk as a skunk being creepy to Stassi? I mean,
it would actually be smarter not to like tell them how to get out of it, but if they were just like, okay, move on.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, no, he didn't.
I would go, I'm going to talk to Jeremy. He wants to be on camera so bad. He's going on dates with Billy Lee. Let's talk to him about it and say, what did you do at the wedding? It never gets to Jeremy. Jeremy ends up, by the end scene, he just references it, but he never has to talk about it in real time because nobody brings it up.
He just goes like, how would you feel if someone said that about you? He wasn't like, yeah, I was like a little bit like tipsy or something, but.
All right, Blackberry Cobbler.
Blackberry Cobbler while Jax is beating on a drum alone in his room. Brittany is basically gearing up to tell her dad about the cheating because she hasn't told him yet. She's like, something really bad has happened and I was afraid to tell you. And he goes, are you going to leave me dangling?
Are you just going to leave me dangling, darling? I'm out here in the blackberries.
Bramble bush.
I'm in a bramble bush getting blackberries for the cobbler. You gonna leave me? We're doing that.
Dangleberry.
Well, you leave me hanging like a dangleberry. we're doing the offensive Erica and Dorit impression.
I'm picturing him like in Splash Mountain.
I'm picturing him in overalls with no shirt and a little piece of hay out of his mouth. Are you gonna leave me dangling like a damn dangleberry? And she this is offensive. Maybe we should edit this out. He goes, she goes, Dad, the reason I haven't called you, which I find that to be so sad. Like as a father, I'm not even thinking about this shit.
As a father of daughters.
As a father of daughters of a 7-month-old, I'm thinking about the future, but it was like she intentionally hasn't talked to her dad because she knows that she can't fake this shit and she's going to have to tell him a hard truth and she doesn't want her dad to be sad for her, disappointed. It just made me really sad that like she distanced herself from her dad's love and warmth because of something that Jax did. It's like the huge damage that this has just on everything that what Jax has wrought is astonishing.
Yeah. And when she tells him, he goes, well, that doesn't surprise me. He's that type. He can't control himself. And he already warned her in Kentucky, like over and over again, that he's not into their relationship.
Brittany's dad is probably rolling around like a pig in shit right now. Not because he's in Kentucky. I mean, metaphorically, because he's happy as a clam that now finally the oats that Jax has sown have flourished, and now Brittany is out of that horrific relationship that everybody agrees is awful. Yeah,
he goes, Prince Charming might be out there waiting for you to dump him. Brittany goes, I just hope Mama doesn't find out. It will break her heart. And I was like, oh God.
I think Mama is going to be just fine. She already forgave Jax once, and I don't think she gives a shit if Jax cheats again.
So then Jax comes out and he's like, I heard a little bit of your conversation through my drums. And she's like, every time I have to tell someone in my family about this shit, it's so horrible. Please never do anything like this again because I cannot deal with like relaying it to my family.
And she's on the verge of tears when she says that all the emotions have just been brought up. It is so hard for you to hear, your dad, like to have to tell him that you've been disrespected.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's so sad. And then Jax is, the worst piece of shit that you could ever imagine. Indefensible behavior. He immediately goes, you're no angel, sweetheart. He goes, you ain't perfect. He goes, don't get me started. Sometimes you're short with me. There's a reason why your friends back home called you Bratney. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, why are you being mean to me now? Like, what are you thinking? This is in no way equatable with what you did to me. And Jax is trying to get out of it. Trying to say that there's some things Brittany does that led him to cheat on her with a friend in front of a, 95-year-old person.
He sucks so bad.
Yeah, it's really bad, really, really bad. And then she goes, why can't you just be loving? And he goes, and then Jack says, horrible. Again, he goes, if you're not happy, then it might be time for you to move on. So basically daring her to leave him if she doesn't appreciate how he treats her. Yeah, really shitty.
So she's been warned yet again. And then next week she's throwing him a full-on trip to Mexico for his birthday.
Oh, yeah, and we didn't say that Sandoval says when he sees the electric electronic drum kit, he goes, what the hell? Jax is going to be like, what am I going to cheat on Brittany with? Or who am I going to cheat on Brittany with for my 39th birthday, and what new gifts will I get?
Seriously?
Some version of that. Okay, they go out to a wonderful restaurant or bar. It's a group that you've never seen in your life before.
It's in Santa Monica.
What the hell is going on? Is there some
Because I was like, where is that? And I looked it up, and I was like, why the fuck did all of these people schlep to Santa Monica?
Some location manager was just scouting places like by their home or something, and they said, you got to go to this place. We got the best permit. And this is where Sheena can set up a revenge scheme against Jax by having Adam, this person who's not at all interested in Brittany, that she's secretly interested in, pretend that he likes Brittany and he's flirting with her to make Jax jealous, when I don't know if Jax would be jealous. They're not in a relationship. They are in a relationship. She's going to stick with him. So none of this has gravity or weight. It's not a good development in the Vanderpump Rules story.
Yeah, Adam is trying to be like super touchy-feely with Brittany here. Also, then they all talk about like the Billy Lee Jeremy situation, and they're like, Sheena's like, raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Stassi, and Brittany's like, oh, come on, y'all, like, we don't need to be like that.
Yeah, no, yeah, she doesn't want this shit talking.
She doesn't want to. And then Sheena and Brittany go to the bar, and she's like, you look, to Brittany, she goes, you look so fucking hot. You deserve the world. Like, you know that you could do better than Jax. And she's like crying. She's like, but I love him.
Yeah.
And Sheena's like, do you want to look like me? 32, divorced with no kids, as if that's like a big deal to be 32 with no kids. Yeah.
And Sheena's also drunk in this scene. And I was like, damn, Sheena went, because Jack's loose lips spread some gossip that was mostly true. That she's like gone from rooting, or I don't know, not rooting, but being okay with Jax and Brittany staying together, to being like, I am ending this thing right now. I want to ruin this relationship. I want Brittany to have sex with Adam right now and never get back with Jax. Like full just revenge, like I've never seen.
Earlier when they go to lunch at that restaurant, her and Brittany and Sheena, she's like, are you sure you don't want to do a shot? And Brittany's like, I will barf all over this goddamn restaurant if we do a shot. But then at this bar, they do multiple shots.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. You don't get a good glimpse at Adam, really. You don't get a good glimpse at Jeremy. You know, obviously they're kind of duds on camera. You know, you're not going to get a lot of good stuff out of them.
Yeah. And Brittany is emotional, saying, my brain and my heart are fighting against each other every damn day about this guy.
I thought that was a beautiful quote. My brain and my heart are fighting against each other every damn day.
Yeah, it was like a cat on the hot tin roof. And then, next week we get Lisa on horseback with Brittany, which I don't even remember Brittany riding a horse, but maybe she doesn't even, they don't show her on a horse. They show her guiding, like leading a horse.
She's like in front. Yeah. She's in front of it, sort of, pulling the horse. And they're talking about going to Mexico, right?
Yeah. Playa del Carmen for Jax's birthday. And it looks like everyone sort of rips into Jax, and he's like, what the hell?
Yes. And I think if I'm right, well, I'm not right, but the entire cast gets to be together, and they've been very isolated. James and Lala are on their own show. Katie and Stassi are on their own show. The producer said, absolutely not. This entire cast is coming together, and there's a lot of...
when James and Kristen, like, they have to decide if they were on that towel together by the hot tub?
I think.
Or did that already happen?
No, great question. All of these moments have happened and are happening all in one moment. That's why you and I feel.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
So you and I are just grasping at things that have happened, but I think that is still to come, and I'm not 100% sure if it's this season or if it's next season. Let's say it's this season. Let's just say it.
I think that would make sense, but we'll see. I mean, it's next week, so we'll report back. But
I can't wait. All right. Yes. Well, what the hell? An hour and 30 minutes, probably? What the hell? Okay, all right. Well, Villa Rosa VIPs, we hope you enjoyed this episode. This episode was fun to talk about. A little bit of the cracks that are starting to form in Vanderpump Rules that will ultimately ruin it are starting to appear, but it's still so fun and amazing. The cast is here, and they're having the time of their life, so it's still an iconic era for Vanderpump Rules, and it looks like it just gets better this season with this trip that we're going to talk about. So stick with us. Thank you, as always, for being Villa Rosa VIPs. We love you and cherish you. Every comment that comes in, somebody told me that some TikTok I made came on Daily Mail, and I would have never seen that if not for the Patreon community. So that was so nice. And like people, I love that everybody offers us stuff that you and I don't have time to watch. And so it's just so fun and amazing. And it's like we are creating the canon of Vanderpump Rules together and answering all these questions together. So I am very appreciative of you all.
Yes. God bless. We'll see you next time.
See you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.